you would confirm that you are addicted to that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That is your medical analysis, right? You're a doctor, so.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Remote No Pressure Podcast. It's great to see you, Bill.
Good to see you too,
dude. It's springtime. It's awesome.
I know.
Did you go hiking today?
I did. This is my
where'd
first
you go?
hike. I went down to Gun Lake area, Yankee Springs Recreation Area, Round Hall Lake.
How'd you do?
Not very well. I'm pretty out of shape. My excess winter LBs have influenced me.
Yeah, that's one thing that I never understood living down south. Living up here, I totally get it. Like, it's almost like a hibernation.
Mm-hmm.
You put on a few extra pounds. You don't do a lot. You try to.
Yeah.
You really do.
You have good intentions.
But it's 0 degrees and it's snowing. And you're like...
To heck with going outside. I am not a winter sports person.
You're not? You ever try the cross-country skiing?
I have not.
No? I tried it last year.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. I just did it one time. And we have a place where you could rent skis, which is all new to me.
You have the place?
Yeah.
You own it?
I do.
Oh, wow.
You can come.
I might come and check it out.
I'll give you 50% off.
I'll give you the friends discount.
We're going to charge you double. All my family can come for twice the price. No, I don't own it. It's actually part of Ottawa County, like the parks.
No
parks
kidding.
Department. Yeah. So you go in there, they get this big, like a big cabin.
Mm-hmm.
You can go in there and like there's a big fire going. It's really cool.
That is cool.
And you rent your cross country.
There's a lot of great parks in this area too.
There really is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one good thing about our high taxes is we have some pretty decent parks around here.
And hopefully sometime soon some good roads too, right?
No, we have high taxes, but yet we still pay to get in the park. So maybe
that's true. I get the tabs for both my license plate.
That was one of the best things that I think our previous governor did.
The tabs and the plates?
Yeah. So you can buy your park pass with your license plate when you renew. It was like $11 or something for a year.
I bought it for my bike and I bought it for my car,
Yeah. Your motorcycle bike
yes,
right?
My
Not
motorcycle.
your actual bike.
I have no pedal bike. No.
I want you don't have to do that, but I'm surprised they don't require some kind of tag for your bike on the biking trails.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised too.
Yeah. Probably.
But who's going to police that though too?
Don't give them any ideas, Bill.
These guys are brilliant.
Look, all you politicians, that one's for free. No. Yeah. So, we've been going out more playing baseball and getting ready for the baseball season and stuff. So
it's great seeing the sun. Great shedding some layers out there.
Exactly. Special thanks to a couple people. We had a couple more reviews come in on iTunes, so thank everyone for doing that. Yeah, and one guy said you could cut down on all the bleeping. So I guess maybe he was an Asian carp that went in and actually put that on.
My apologies.
My apologies,
sir. Please stay out of our Great Lakes.
Oh, stay out of our Great Lakes. But we got a couple great reviews, so be sure to go and review. Also, before we get started, big announcement. Like the pause there I was trying to add some dramatic effect. The pause.
Wait, you can't have two.
You ruined it. I was about to go at it, and it didn't work very well.
It's too long of a pause.
Too long of a pause.
There's two long pauses.
Can you give me an example of a pause? Like, what's a good
example
pause? Okay.
Of a pause was that.
That was a good example.
Think William Shatner.
Think William Shatner.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to think.
Yeah, you see, that's too long.
That's too long.
That's too long.
I was thinking. No. But if you are a content creator, videographer, a writer, a photographer, a podcaster, a wannabe podcaster, reach out to us because we are working on our next season and we're very excited about what's coming out there. And we got some really cool things lined up. This week, we have Dr. Veekman. RNP goes international this week. He's from Brussels.
International
podcast.
All the way over the pond.
Across the pond. He's actually from Brussels. Dr. Veekman. He's a brain surgeon.
That is amazing.
See, I had Ann Miller on a couple weeks ago, and then I had Dr. Veekman. These people are way smarter than
You're doing these musicians on the flies, and now Now it's like geniuses on the fly.
Geniuses on the fly. That's what we should call this.
Yeah.
Geniuses on the fly. Now there is a little bit of stuff lost in translation because he does English is not his first language, but yet he was really good.
Nor mine.
What's your first language, Bill?
I couldn't tell you.
Still trying to figure that
I
one
couldn't
out.
tell you in English.
Yeah, but
It escapes me.
Dr. Veekman, as a child, wanted to be a brain surgeon.
That's amazing.
And his parents were like, well, whatever. He goes, no, I want to be a brain surgeon. And you know what? He's a brain surgeon. And so I was trying to find people with stressful jobs. And so his Instagram is full of like brains and him doing like surgeries. And I'm like, that's a pretty stressful job.
Yeah.
And he fly fishes. So
literally holding people's lives in his hands.
Isn't that crazy?
That is. Their personality, like everything about you is in your brain. That is amazing.
It is. I've been in the hospital a lot lately because we've had some family sickness, not me personally, but a family member is in the hospital, and seeing these nurses and doctors come in, change these little bags out. They know exactly what medication's going where. Like,
most of them.
Yeah, I think this will do. Hey,
this looks about right.
What medication?
2 for you, 1 for me.
Yeah, this is a pain medication through the IV. Is that going to work? I think it'll be okay.
I tried it in the lobby. It's working pretty good on me.
It's like that commercial that I forgot which one it was, but it's like the car's up and the guy's asking about his brakes, and he's like, it should be all right. And the guy's like, no, I don't want to hear. It should be. I'm like, is it gonna work or not? So is that drug going to work? Oh, it'll be all right. Is that going to kill him? Probably not, but...
Side effects may include...
Yeah, exactly. But this guy's like, really, it was a great meet talking to him and how they like to fish. Like, they don't have public access. Like, you and me, we can drive 10 minutes and wet a line somewhere.
Yeah.
In Europe, it's a lot different.
That is crazy.
You can't. So he actually leases land in the UK to go trout fishing.
Holy cow. That is amazing.
I don't want to give away the whole interview, but it's pretty good. So welcome to the podcast. Let's light the fire. Well, today on the Remote No Pressure podcast, I'm very excited to have Dr. Gerald Veekmans. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, Doctor.
Thank you. Pleasure is for me.
Well, the reason I reached out to you, it's not every day that we have a brain surgeon on the podcast. And like I had mentioned before we started the podcast, a lot of times what we've been doing is reaching out to people recently who have really stressful jobs. And brain surgery seems like a pretty stressful job where fly fishing could be handy. But what made you decide to go into brain surgery, Doctor?
I don't know. I was 13 years old when I changed my idea of what I wanted to do. And the reason I don't know, everyone asks me, but probably a movie or something, I decided that brain surgery would be something fantastic for me. At that time, my whole family was laughing with me. And at 18, I was still decided to do that and went to university. I'm lucky that I fulfilled my dream. So,
yeah, at age 13, knowing what you want to do for the rest of your life, I mean, that's
it's very strange.
Yeah,
but it's also very easy for someone.
Tell me more. Easy because you already know your life's plan. Is that why it's easy or?
No, I see today with my kids, they are looking for what they want to do. They are 22, 21, and they still don't know really well what to do. So they have difficulties to choose the right studies. During their studies, they're still thinking, am I doing the right thing? So for me, it was easy. I know at 13 years old what I wanted to do. It was maybe difficult to convince my parents who were absolutely not in the medical sector. So, but it's a dream. And if you can fulfill your dream, you're a lucky guy.
Absolutely. What kind of work were your parents in, Gerald?
My mother was a housewife, and my father had a company, or still has a company, which is importing food and wine in the Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. So I had absolutely not the education for being a medical doctor, but rather my father was hoping that I would get in his business later.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you have any siblings to take over the business, or?
Yeah, I have a brother. I'm lucky. I have a brother who is a little bit younger, but took the business over of my dad, and who is very happy now. But at the age of 18, we had big discussions about that, because that was not the plan of the future plan of my father. No.
Right. Now, after you get out of high school and go to university, what's this? How long does it take from that moment to the time you're working on you're in your first surgery on your own? I mean, is that like a 20-year process?
It was 14 years.
14 years.
Yes.
Well,
so we have in Belgium 7 years of medical school, and then you're a generalist, and then you have to do 6 years of specializations, and if possible 1 year abroad. So I did 2 years abroad instead of 1 year, and it gives me 14 years of preparing me for this job.
Now, let me ask you this question. What was it like the first time you were flying solo, doing a brain surgery? I mean, were you nervous? I mean, I know you probably had done it so many times before you're there, but what was it like that first time, having someone's life right in your hands? That's got to be crazy.
It is, but that's a kind of thing you learn during your formation. You're in the first years of your specialization, you are already how do you call it? You have to do some things where life is depending of your act, like urgencies and things like that. You have to take the decision. So in the 7 years of preparation, you are already prepared to do those things, and once you are ready for the job, you are ready for the job. So the stress of losing a life is gone. I don't say that it's totally gone, but you're prepared to know what your risks are and how to deal with them. Huh?
I'm sure that there's always I'm sure it's never completely gone. Like
no,
the responsibility.
The stress is to be honest, I'm never stressed when I start doing some medical acts. I'm really stressed when I do something which didn't succeed, and where maybe I could have done something else. And then afterwards the stress comes. But at the moment that you have to take the decisions, I'm not really stressed.
That's awesome. So how did you get into fly fishing? I mean, was it something that your father introduced you to, or?
No, not at all. As a kid, I love to fish, and I love to look to all fishing movies and reading books and things like that. And in Belgium, fly fishing is not really an easy thing. Most of the time, we fish on canals or on lakes and on whitefish, carp. And so that's how I started. And but I was really interested in trout fishing. And it's stock trout you can find here for kids on small ponds and things like that. But I really didn't like the spinner and all those things. So I started to fish with maggots on a small rod, and then I was educating myself in a kind of technique which was close to fly fishing, and then I saw this in books, and I said that's something for me. But in the books I read, it was rather an elective sport, and didn't know how to start, didn't know anyone who did that.
Uh-huh.
And it is later, after my studies, that I became an addicted fly fisherman. Yeah.
Now you use the word addiction, so you would confirm that you are addicted to that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That is your medical analysis, right? You're a doctor, so.
Yeah.
So do you do a lot of, you said carp fishing over there, right? So do you tie some unique flies for those carp and whitefish, or?
No, at this moment I only fish on trout or do sea fishing, but I don't fish anymore on lakes and things like that. The carp fishing is only possible in during summer when the carps comes up because the lakes are too deep and it's really not. They are so fat and by the boilies the other people use, and the water is so dirty that it's not my kind of fishing. But I heard and I read that it's some fun in the States. Yes.
Yeah, I'm very spoiled. I live in Michigan, so it's the home of Trout Unlimited, and we have some great year-round fly fishing. It gets cold.
Yeah.
It gets cold, but it's definitely a lot of fun. So so do you tie a lot of your own flies then, or?
Yes, during winter when it's not proper to fish here in Belgium. Me and my buddy, I have a fishing buddy, we tie every Tuesday after evening flies. So, and when I come home, I have my dedicated room for fly tying. When I come home, every night I make 4 flies.
Is there certain flies in particular that you like to tie more than others, or?
No. I like to tie 4 different flies.
4 different flies. Okay.
So it takes me weeks to have a whole bunch of the same flies. Yeah.
So what has fly fishing taught you anything about medicine or about life, the philosophical side about fly fishing?
Well, there's a lot with the same as neurosurgery, fly fishing. It's a story of your own. You have to you're alone, and you have to come to learn and compete alone against the pathology or the fish. You want the fish, and you have to do studies to be better. And in that country, some training that you stay. How you call that, focused on what you want to do, and that's the same in brain surgery or spine surgery. If you make a deal with your patient, you go for one deal. If you go to fly fishing and you say I want to take a trout with a dry fly, yeah, it's a deal you make, and it's fun. How the preparation is the same, that it's a total different job, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of preparation involved, that's for sure, and the science behind it, the depending on how nerdy that you want to get on it, I mean, you could really, dive deep and know every hatch, and some people are just like, hey, I'm just out here to have a good time. But
no, and what's very interesting is that the fishing and the fly fishing has learned me to be realistic, and it's you can do a lot of research, and you can do you can think that you are really well prepared, and it can be a bad day in fishing nothing, eh? So that's the same. You have to accept that not everything is. It's like in the books, huh? And you have to be creative, that you can answer to those changes in nature or in anatomy or in pressure of the air or pressure of the blood, things like that. You see this you learn how to deal with those changing factors that you didn't deal before with.
Sure, and they can change so fast.
Absolutely.
When you're out on the water. And now, have you ever been to, say, like Northern Ireland or Scotland or anything like that? Have you ever fly fished any of the water over there?
Yeah, we we are lucky that we are close to the UK, and so we go a lot to England, the south of England, fishing the chalk rivers, which is very nice. And then sometimes, we go up, but I prefer to go to Iceland because it's much more accessible for us than to going to Scotland, which is rather difficult, elective fishing. And if there's something that I'm not keen of in the fly fishing is fishing for salmon.
You don't enjoy this fishing for salmon?
No, not really. No, not really. I like to tie the flies, and I like to learn all the techniques to use a double-handed rod, but the fish is not the most exciting thing in my opinion.
You know what? We have that in common, because we have a big salmon run here every year in Michigan, and every fall we have all these salmon that come into into our streams and rivers, and a lot of people go out for them, and they're half dead. They're there to die. I prefer to fish behind them and catch the trout, that may be feeding behind them. But the salmon run is not something I really enjoy that much.
No.
What is your favorite species? Is trout kind of like your go-to species, or?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think trout and grayling. Grayling is also a very nice fish. That's what I prefer. Sight fishing on clear rivers, and try to see how the fish is taking the nymph or the fly, the dry fly. That's what I prefer.
Yeah, the dry fly is a beautiful thing, that's for sure.
Absolutely, but during winter we go for some days to fish grayling on chalk rivers, and there you can spot the graylings. And fishing, sightseeing the nymph, you have to be very careful, throw really nicely the nymph in front of him, and you see him taking. That's really exciting. That's big fun.
Now with the grayling, how far do you have to travel to fish for those?
Well, we have some grayling in Belgium, so you can fish them, but they're rather small, nice 20-25 centimeters. But when in the south of England you find rivers, it's 5-hour drive from our home. And you can find nice spots where you during winter you can fish big graylings, 40 centimeters. Yes.
So when you discovered it, you talked about how you found fly fishing and all of that, but like when you were growing up, so going back to kind of how you came up and how you grew up, when you were 13, I mean, I don't know a lot of people, to be honest with you, who know what they want to do when they're 13. I was trying to figure out like what kind of skateboard to ride. I mean, were you a pretty serious kid? I mean, were you always really serious and intense, or was that just what you wanted to do?
Well, it's a difficult question to ask me. I think I've always been very interested, and when a subject excites me, I will go very, very deep in the subject, and I had that when I was a kid already. On the other side, I was a real kid, so I could make a lot of stupid things and make a lot of noise. So, but I always had my moments that I needed to be alone to study whatever interested me at that time, and still so now.
Now, I've found a lot of fly anglers who are like you, that when they go into something, they go all in, and it looks like you do that. You do the fly fishing thing, the brain surgery, and also you're a biker as well, correct?
Yeah. At my age and willing to stay in shape for surgery and for fly fishing. I do a lot of biking, but that's I like the bike, but it's the purpose is to stay in shape.
You don't enjoy it as much as fly fishing then?
Well, during the winter, I do a lot more biking. During the summer, when fishing is on, I see that the biking is less, much less, much less.
Now, do your kids fly fish at all, or have they taken up the sport?
No, they are sports. They do sports. They play soccer, which is very popular in Belgium, and they play it on a decent level. So they have 4 trainings a week, and they play on the weekends, and so that's a time-consuming thing for them at this moment. And but we have a house in Brittany where we spend our holidays. And there they go sometimes fishing with me, and the oldest one is getting, now that he's football, soccer is less important. Is interested, yeah, and he starts to learn to cast in the garden with me and things like that, but on his tempo. So. You have to fly fish if you want. It must be enjoyable. It must not be something which is a need for your daddy. Huh?
Yeah, I get that a lot from people who have kids. I have kids as well. And it's, you want them to enjoy the same hobbies, but they've got to kind of discover those. You can't put pressure on them or they'll hate it, So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely. What they do, that's for several times a year, they come with me and they enjoy the walking and they stay on the water with me. And then always they wanted to fish a quarter of an hour and half an hour, and then it's finished. So it's,
now,
I think that's normal, and you have to accept that. And I don't think my wife would be very happy if all the kids would be as dedicated as I was.
You'd have to have a really big house if each one had their own dedicated room for fly fishing.
Yeah.
Right? So is your tying room, is it pretty organized then? I mean, are you pretty anal about how everything's...
No. I'm very organized in my brains, but I can make a big mess, yes. And certainly when you're trying 4 different flies, I have everything on my desk, and it's not really nice to see. But for me, it's totally normal. And then every month or so, I clean everything up, and then I said, this is better. But after one fly, it's again a mess.
Right. Yeah, I totally hear you, and you know where everything is at, even though it may not look like it. But
absolutely. But if you see my fishing bag, that's perfect.
Yeah. Especially, you got to have that ready to go and in order.
Yes.
But the tying room, not so much. So does your wife fish at all? Then she doesn't ever go with you?
The same, like my kids, when we are on holiday, sometimes she takes a rod and she comes with me a lot of times. But no, she started tying flies with us, with me, which was really nice. But she don't have she's a real mother, so our dedication is to the kids, and I'm very proud and happy for that. But no, in Belgium. Fishing is really not done for a woman, so it's not accepted like it is in the States, which is a pity.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing a big growth in that demographic in the States, and we're also seeing a big growth amongst younger kids as well, or younger people, in high school and colleges. We're just seeing an explosion of growth in those demographics. Do you see those kind of things changing in Belgium?
No. That's I saw that when I'm on holidays in the States. I see that the last 3 holidays, fly fishing holidays, were in Montana, and we saw a lot of women and kids fishing, which is really nice to see. But that's not something that we see here in Belgium. No. And I think that the first reason is it's very difficult to access a fly fishing place. You have to be a member. It's expensive, rather expensive, and it's much easier to go fishing on the canal or on a pond for carp or things like that. It's much cheaper, but. And there you see that there are some kids fishing, but yeah, it's not the same as in the States.
Yeah, for a very long time, the sport had this reputation of being a very elitist sport, right? So
Yes.
only the very wealthy and elite. And I ask some of my friends who know a lot of history about fly fishing, and they say because it originated in Europe, you had to own property or know someone who did, and so not everyone could just go fly fishing. So you had to be a person of means in order to participate.
Yeah, that's true, absolutely true, and it's the rivers we have are beautiful rivers, but they're all private properties, and some will let you go on the property, but for a lot of money. And the fishing is absolutely not comparable to Montana or other rivers in the States. The natural population is totally decimated in Belgium due to pollution, but also to predators, and that's a big problem. So the fish on the rivers is only stocked. If I'm talking about trout, is stocked trout. So the people who put the trout on protect also their property very well.
Sure. So
that's not a nice thing, but that's the truth.
So in America, public land is a huge deal here. Having access to rivers for the public. And you're saying that you guys just don't have access to, you don't have the public land situation that we have here.
No, but the law is different. You have access on the river, but you are not allowed to fish. The water is not from for it. The water is from the landowners. And all what's in the water is also from the landowners. In the States, if I really understand, the land is from the owners, but not the river. Never. So you are always allowed to be on the bank.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so like a lot of in Michigan.
So if you have an access, you can walk if it's possible, and you can walk through the private land as long as you stand in the bank.
Right, exactly. So as long in Michigan, because it's different in each state, right? So in Michigan, as long as we stay in the water, we can go anywhere we want.
Yeah.
We just can't go up on their land if they have it posted, private property or whatever.
Yeah,
so
no, the water is also private property. You can go by kayak on the water if you have an access somewhere, and you can go through, but you're not allowed to fish.
Because the fish are technically owned by the landowner.
Yes.
Wow. We really take that for granted in America, I think.
Absolutely. You're lucky. And then you have another population. I was on the Missouri, and there's 8,000 trout natural habitat per mile.
Wow. Yeah.
And I don't think we have 8,000 trouts, natural trouts in Belgium. So that's a difference, of course. Huh?
Right. Yeah. We really, I think we take that for granted a lot, being able to go, I can drive just minutes from my house and go on a trout stream that I don't own at all and go fishing. There's a parking lot. I get out, put my waders on, get in the water and go.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. Just talking about it with you, it's like I I don't even think about it, but someone like in your situation.
No, but you understand that that's a big deal here. Kids, they don't take their bikes and they don't go fishing because they know they will be arrested and have a fine. Huh?
Wow. Well, have you ever been fined for that personally?
No. That's no. I try to be an honest guy, and if you're a doctor, that's the first thing you have to do. So, no. But I have my own stretch of river. So I have 3.5 miles of river, which I hire, and there's a small house with old people living there, and their grandchild, a boy, is coming every Wednesday, and he fish half an hour in our river, and so I said to the guy, if you, I said to the grandmother, he's not allowed to fish because that's stuck fish and he's killing the fish and things like that. And I said, and then the grandmother said to me, yes, but then he will not visit me. And then I said, okay, but that's a really a good point. He's allowed to fish for me on this stretch, but he's not allowed to kill. And so we made a deal, and he's fishing now, and he's really happy, and his grandmother is really happy. And but that's the true story. So it's a pity story, in fact.
So do you guys have like a Department of Wildlife there that manages the streams and the rivers and the fish population, or is that all private, all done privately?
No, we have stupid people who are running nature in Belgium. So they are really extremist. They're thinking very small window, and so But I understand them somewhere, but. Nature in Belgium is so small that there's so many people, so you have to make a deal. They want to close nature for everyone so that it will be a natural habitat again, but it's impossible. We don't have the places. We are overcrowded, so you have to deal with that. So It's a difficult discussion with them. So we are not allowed to stock every fish. We are only allowed to stock brown trout, which is not a problem for me. But yes, they have a lot of impact in all those things. Yes, we're also allowed to fish for 4 months, not more, things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Doctor, I really appreciate you hanging out with us, and thank you very much for bringing some time to us. And if you ever make it back to the States and hit Michigan, let me know. I'd love to take you fishing.
Absolutely. I will put this on my bucket list. I will let you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll let you know when we publish the episode so you can have a listen, okay?
I hope you had something in this interview. It was really nice to hear you.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. It's always cool to have a global perspective,
Absolutely. That's fine in fly fishing, that you can travel and you can learn about a lot of other things than fly fishing, about people living there and how they cope with that. That's really interesting, and it's totally different everywhere.
Yeah, fly fishing takes you to some beautiful places, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, cheers. You have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy.
Well, thank you, Dr. Veekmans, and thank you for joining us on another episode of the Remote No Pressure Podcast. Bill, we got some stuff coming up, right?
That's right.
What's coming up next month? April the
8th. We'll be in Pittsburgh.
Are you a Steelers fan?
I'm not a sports person.
They're the football team, right?
Yes. Pittsburgh Steelers, yes.
Yeah.
And they have the Penguins, which is hockey, I believe.
Pirates are the baseball team.
Yeah.
I'm a baseball fan.
Yeah.
That's the only real sport I follow. But my first time in Pittsburgh, so I'm excited.
Same here. Yeah.
So if you guys know any good restaurants, let us know. We'd like to try it out. And also, don't forget to leave us feedback. We greatly appreciate that.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, on whatever podcast platform that you're on. Be sure to check it out. And until next time, go fishing.